very warm welcome to this second episode in the youth series. Today, the topic that we are discussing is boredom. I am privileged to have with me Bhageshwari and Kashish, both good friends and a little crazy, I hope. Okay, I want to start on the opposite end of the spectrum to boredom. Um, I find in me specifically with the advent of this Instagram and quick chatting on various other platforms and Facebook, I find I search for the same excitement outside in the real world, and the real world is almost always disappointing on this because it will never give the sense of high that a quick conversation or a like or a funny video of 30 seconds can bring. Life is slow, life is at its own pace, and it's a mix of a lot of things. So I find it is very disturbing at times when I get very addicted to this constant sense of communication. So starting with you, Kashish, do you agree on this?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. On the internet, there is constant stimulation of so many videos. There are so many cat videos, so many dog videos, so many people are doing so much that simplicity is somewhere compromised, I believe.
Hmm. Bagi, you agree? Is it the lack of simplicity or do you think excitement तो होना चाहिए क्यों नहीं?
नहीं, मतलब मैंने जो पॉडकास्ट किया था, मैंने उसमें भी बोला था कि इंस्टाग्राम कैसा है, तुम पूरा का पूरा जो देखना चाहते हो, वो तुम मैनिपुलेट कर सकते हो। जैसे कशिश ने बोला, अगर तुमको डॉग वीडियोस देखना है, कीप लाइकिंग डॉग वीडियोस, एल्गोरिथम तुमको डॉग वीडियोस ही देगा। बट रियल लाइफ विल थ्रो व्हाटएवर यू मतलब वांट, डोंट वांट, सब तुम्हारे पास ऐसा है, जैसा का है, वो आएगा। तो इंस्टाग्राम कैसा होता है, यू गेट व्हाट यू वांट, इसके वजह से इंसान वहां पे जाना प्रेफर भी करता है। बट रियल लाइफ कैसा है, यू डोंट नो व्हाट इज कमिंग नेक्स्ट। तो उसके वजह से थोड़ा डर भी रहता है, यू हैव अ लिटिल फियर इन योर माइंड कि भाई क्या हो जाएगा कल, यू हैव नो आइडिया।
So the dog that you like may not necessarily be the dog that is following you at that point.
दैट इज स्टिल बेटर देन नॉट नोइंग व्हाट विल हैपन ओनली। मतलब डॉग वीडियो के बीच में कोई ऐसा मर्डर वाला सीन तो नहीं आएगा, तो एटलीस्ट वो बेटर है।
Okay. So what is good about not knowing what life will bring? Isn't all human progress, and now I'm generalizing this thing, but a lot of human progress is this dissatisfaction has led to more control of circumstances. We like to control environment, education. Even education comes with that cocky thing that, oh, what we put in the textbook is the perfect answer to certain question, which may not be the case, perhaps. So, Kashish, you are a teacher, so I think this is a dual sword that I would. So is Bagi now. But how do you see knowledge? But before, how do you see knowledge? The pre-question is, how do you see discomfort of not knowing?
See, not knowing is scary for a lot of people. Like for me as well, when I don't know a situation or when I don't know a person or when I don't know a textbook, being a teacher myself, it is scary. But at the same time, I have to realize that not knowing something is, is an opportunity to know it. We
Yeah.
can not stagnate. So yeah, I think it is equally important, but it is scary.
Okay. Bagi, how bad is the scare?
आई आई एम नॉट रियली स्कैर्ड ऑनेस्टली। मेरे को तो चल जाता है कि हाँ ठीक है, नहीं मालूम है, लर्न अबाउट इट। एंड ऐसा बीच बीच में जैसे इंस्टा की बात हो रही है, बीच बीच में ऐसा यूट्यूब शॉर्ट्स या रील्स आते रहते हैं। सो इफ आई फाइंड समथिंग दैट आई कैन यूज इन माई टीचिंग, और इफ आई सी समथिंग दैट आई शुड बी लर्निंग अबाउट, आई गो टू गूगल एंड फाइंड अ लॉट ऑफ स्टफ दैट इज वर्दी ऑफ मी नोइंग, एंड फिर आई कैरी ऑन विथ माई डे।
Wonderful. So are we saying that if we are a little more focused because of the scare, there might be better answers that might crop up?
Yes.
Okay, I will avoid yes and no questions. Yeah. So this question was a little more open than the yes and no part. In my head, it was that internet is one source of information. Right now, as we speak, an hour back, I was talking to a friend of mine. There is some workshop that I am working on, and this is the part exactly that we were discussing. What happens when we think we know something? There is a sense of knowledge that we think is complete in itself. So, sticking to what you guys teach to your students as of right now, which is school academics mostly. Now, because the textbook is fixed, the lesson is fixed, what has been covered in the content of the lesson has been fixed. Whereas one good thing about Instagram is that you can go and create your own thing where you are creating a new sense of entertainment for right now, but creating a new sense of looking at that subject is what I'm trying to say. How do we get into that mindset of using this uh, lack of knowledge to reach that jump where you are able to create both respect and a new way of looking at knowledge? Kashish?
It's actually just being yourself. I mean, come on, you cannot. Yes, market research is important. If your question is how can we be different, then we have to find gaps, like the gaps which other people are not covering. And then we can add our own element, our own creativity to it.
Okay. What if a person is not creative, Bagi?
Teaching aids. Use teaching aids. Use audio visual. Like there was this one child, थोड़ा मस्ती मतलब he'll not do something or like even if I try to explain him something विंडो के बाहर देखेगा तो to gain his attention मैंने अपने फोन में अपना एक वीडियो रिकॉर्ड किया कि ये क्वेश्चन का तू वीडियो देख फिर बाद में ट्राई करने का तो समझता है क्या he understood that after I did that तो तरीके ढूंढने के लाइक वो जैसे वो बोल रही क्रिएटिव ही है बट यूज टीचिंग एड्स जैसे अभी ऑडियो विजुअल हो गया देन जैसे समझो ज्योमेट्री एक्सप्लेन करना है तो खुद का राउंडर खुद का पेंसिल वगैरह लेके जाना देन शो देम ऑन देयर बुक्स खुद से करके तो यूज ऑल ऑफ दैट आई थिंक दैट वुड बी अ गुड वे
Okay. How do you guys view boredom vis-a-vis ignorance? Because earlier when I started the question, we moved from ignorance to knowledge. But uh, but the first example that I gave, that this hyper excitement every second. Oh, you see this, you see that. Whether it is dog videos or all kinds of entertainment or uh, anything at all. But does it force us to look for this constant sense of stimulation in real life? Is it a problem that because you're teachers, would you admit that you also face this problem once in a while? And how do you resolve it? Ashish?
So you're asking that how do I deal with boredom as a teacher?
How do you deal with this constant stimulation? Is that a problem first? And because it leads to boredom, which is what you also agreed to, how do you deal with that?
See, there are two parts to this question. Constant stimulation is actually not good for us. We must, learn to accept reality as it is. And just because you fought with somebody, you cannot sit on your phone, scroll reels all day. Uh, Number one, it is detaching you from your reality. And as I said, like I am a teacher, sometimes I myself create boredom in the classroom because I believe, see, boredom, once you're bored, only then you create innovative ideas, only then creativity strikes you. For creativity to strike you, boredom is very important. It's like you cannot experience good without experiencing bad. You cannot appreciate the good without appreciating the bad. So, like truth and false, it's both opposite ends actually.
Okay. So I'll ask you a question from my daughter's viewpoint. Teachers always talk of perfection. Are they really perfect themselves?
And no, see, no teacher is teaching 10 subjects, all right? Right now, like where I live, we have 10 subjects, but no teacher is teaching 10 subjects. Every teacher is teaching one subject or two subject, or they are specializing in some subject only. So yes, if you are asking me that are they perfect in one subject, then yeah, maybe 90% of times, yes. If you're asking me if they are perfect like all around, like 10 subjects may important, then no, nobody is perfect in that sense.
Yes, you need to see a movie called Finding Forrester. And that might have even correct your point of view on that. It's a wonderful film. You'll like it for sure. Bagi was already negating your answer. So what is it that you had in your mind?
Negating me, I was very happy with her answer. On the contrary, it was very nice.
Okay. So my question is, uh, there is this sense of talking where you are still a teacher when you're talking.
Yes.
Where is the sense of vulnerability in the answers? And when is it there at all? And if it is, so what do you feel vulnerable about? Are there times when you feel, oh, I'm completely out of control, whether because of the subject or the event or the student? Does that happen to you?
I've been there several times. Considering where I just started, there were a lot of times when ma'am came and told me कि भाई ऐसा नहीं बोलना है
Oh,
in front of the students. And considering I was trying to give them motivation, जैसे अभी आपने पहला वाला question दिया, मैं उसको club करती हूँ. I was never perfect. I was never a perfect student. I was a very average student since the very start. So I was telling my students कि तुम लोग ना you're are way higher. Okay, like you don't have to worry. You'll never have to worry about your grades. You'll never have to worry about anything because कोई नहीं देखता है. तो मैम shouted at me कि ऐसा नहीं बोलना चाहिए कभी भी स्टूडेंट्स के सामने क्योंकि वो लोग डिमोटिवेट हो जाते हैं एंड फिर लोग पढ़ाई नहीं करते ऐसा वैसा. तो आई वाज टोल्ड कि you
okay.
shouldn't say that. So your personal life should be kept at a low when it comes to that was something that I learned really late actually.
That's a good answer. I will convey this to my daughter. That there are reasons why teachers have to act as if they know everything about the subject, because it is also to instill confidence in the kids. This is something that is rarely understood.
Hmm.
Um, if you were not to be talking about kids and education at this point of time, which is what uh, is mostly your schedule, considering that exams are uh, coming next month, how do you as an individual deal with boredom? So when you are bored and you don't have any classes to take and there is no responsibility, say next 5 days you have to do nothing. There is a wonderful book called The Fountainhead uh, by Ayn Rand, and the hero is a very passionate architect, and he literally lives and breathes his passion. One guy who's a rich client of his just takes him on a holiday. And he says, you will get everything on this yacht. It's a huge yacht that this guy has. You will get everything, but you will not get a pencil, paper, or anything. You cannot draw, you cannot talk buildings, nothing. So if Kashish, who's a very passionate teacher,
Yeah.
how do you view this?
See, with being a teacher, I am a student as well, and I am still a teenager, so I have friends. I can watch movies. I can go out cycling, or sometimes trekking. Like there
Mhm.
are things that I do other than using my phone when I am bored.
Okay.
So yeah, I would just randomly pick anything, and I'm sure I'd be happy doing it as well.
Oh, wonderful. Uh, Let me put one more spanner in the works here, Bagi,
Yeah.
before I get this question to you. So
Hmm.
if you are forced to do something which is inherently boring,
Uh-huh.
at that point, Bagi, what would you do? I'll come back to you with the same question.
3 years CA is the only answer that I've got.
Huh.
I have done I've done something that has bored me for 3 years, and finally I had to come out of it. and I started teaching.
Yeah.
That is my only answer. I have finally come out. I am capable of doing something I am bored of for 3 years. That is my benchmark.
Oh, wonderful. So what is the good about that 3 years? If one were to do a bit of soul searching here, what was good about those 3 years that you are very happy about today?
That I learned a lot of things, no doubt. That I finally became a little focused in life, that I want to do something actually. And in general, focus hona ki हाँ, if I have to sit at this moment, I have to. Then becoming serious about studies, and that's it.
I would actually like to add a very good insight to it. It is consistency. Like for 3 years, you've constantly. It's so boring that you've done it, but you've done it for 3 continuous years. And the importance of consistency is rarely spoken of. Like, it's not that you can study for 10 hours in a day and rest 9 days, you'll do nothing. Like, if you study for 1 hour each day, like for 10 days, that is better than studying for 10 hours in one day.
I agree.
Bhagi is very happy with your compliment.
Repeat.
I think Bhagi is very happy with your compliment. There is one
I
more
wasn't
thing.
expecting that.
Yeah, I was coming to that. I was coming to that. I'm saying in a world where we are not only distracted by our phones and social media,
Mhm.
there is another challenge that I find that your generation had that we didn't have as much. We had a bit more than our previous generation, but doc either you became a doctor or an engineer or a CA or this or this. Like there were three, four, five. Like CA was also very rare actually. Um Today I find a lot of kids that I speak to um have a plethora of options to choose from. Like they can do anything that they want with their life. There was this reel or some joke somewhere कि मैं भागना चाहता हूँ, दौड़ना चाहता हूँ, ये करना चाहता हूँ, वो करना चाहता हूँ. उसको कोई मारता है और बोलता है अबे काम कब करेगा. तो वो लिटरली ऐसा ही हाल है हमारा कि even now when I'm talking to a lot of people because my kid is coming to a place where she is doing some soul searching what she wants to do with her life. How does one find focus when so many options are available and everything looks as attractive? This is my initial question. Bagi, you want to go first? Because Kashish is waiting.
Choose a career that you like
Okay.
and
What if
practice
we,
focusing.
but what if one is not sure what one likes? I was an engineer first, and I was an engineer for 3 years, plus 1 year that I failed, plus 2 years that I worked. Only after that I realized you get paid for writing. I said, इसका कौन पैसा देता है यार पागल हो गए इस दुनिया वाले. Then I discovered my love and then I worked and again I wrote greeting cards. I got bored of that. Like it's a journey. I couldn't do any shortcuts. And at my age, when I look back, I don't think I would have preferred any of those shortcuts. So, how do you view this aspect of it?
My answer will be very controversial because मेरा कैसा था, सब सीए कर रहे हैं ना, मैं भी सीए ही करूंगी, चलो करके देखते हैं. Finally, when I realized that was not something that I wanted to do, I changed my career. So वो होता है कि when you get that final यूरेका ना कि हाँ ये करना है ये नहीं करना है, तो जैसा आपने वो डाला था मेरे पिछले वाले पॉडकास्ट का, रन टूवर्ड्स व्हाट यू वांट टू डू व्हेन यू गेट द कॉन्शियस से फीलिंग जब ये आ जाता है, तभी डू दैट थिंग एंड राइट एज में, सो दैट लाइक you have a lot of time to focus on your passion or your
Do you
whatever.
get the age part, Kashish? Because Rabindranath Tagore started painting when he was 70. So
Yeah.
I think what does age have to do with anything as long as you've seen the light that she's talking of? Do you think at any point we can change?
Um, at any point, no. At any age, yes. See, for example, once I start teaching English to 11th standards, and I get bored of the textbook. Like the contents of the textbook are not as interesting as to teach, but I cannot stop there. See, I've started the batch. It is my due responsibility to fulfill it. Once I fulfill and conclude the batch, then yes, then I can shift towards something else. Then I can say maybe I'll only teach 12th standard because that is more interesting, and I'll not teach 11th standard. That is true. But if I stop in between, like, okay, yeah, 2 chapters, 3 chapters, this is not my cup of tea, I'll stop it. That is not going to work.
So basically, you're saying, Bhagish is saying that we need to take responsibility even for our mistakes, even in the
100%.
middle, even in the middle of the mistake, and even if it is for 3 years. So when she gave you a compliment, it was by chance. You you stood there for 3 years is the big deal. But that you had to stay for 3 years, ये तो है ही, because you could have never said that you gave an honest chance to see unless you had crossed these 3 years. So
Right.
one other thing that I want to ask you, you did speak about getting focused and liking studies post that. I agree because I did my BA and MA after starting work in advertising. And I enjoyed my studies thoroughly because there was no pressure कि pass हो जाओ या first class लाओ या मत लाओ. Suddenly I realized, oh wow, this is a lovely subject and there are so many good things in it, and everybody should fail once. That was one of my dreams, that everybody should fail once so that they know that academics is not a pressure, it can actually be a pleasure. That actually rhymed.
But ऐसा misunderstanding है. I never liked studying. I understood the importance of studying. So they're two different things.
Yeah.
So
So my question is, what are the other life skills if you had to look at, and if you had to look beyond the academic and the focus part, because focus is also going back into the career bucket as of right now. What are the other life skills that you think your 3 years in the studies that you dropped?
mm, go on to the next question. To Kashisha, think about it a little bit. Thoda.
Okay, let me open up the question a little more. When, see, we are human beings, and while we love to dissect things and say, like when she was describing, I can do trekking, I can do this, I can do this, but the teacher cannot be dissected away from this, and the hiking cannot be dissected away from the teacher either. We are one human being with many facets of this. So as a student, when you were struggling with this, so there are 24 hours in a day, and every hour when I talk to you, you're saying, yes, I am in the middle of this. I have to do this. There is no getting out of that. You know, the facticity of a force, because it's not chosen by you, is huge. Did it impact your rapport with your parents, with your friends, with your going out, or did something else come to mind? Oh, because I can do this, I can do this as well. Something like that. So that is where my question is coming from.
Repo to definitely, like, every day there was something or the other that was happening. Ghar pe friends ke sath, I was not able to give my friends time, I was not able to give my family time, I was not able to, most importantly, I was not able to give myself time. I didn't know what was happening in the surrounding, I didn't know what was happening in my society itself. तो सब जगह से there was more like a cut off that I had done कि किधर नहीं जाना है, कुछ नहीं करना है. Rather there was this one point, if I had to actually start with a storytelling session, मैं नीचे गई हूँ लिफ्ट से ड्यूरिंग माय एग्जाम्स का, आई थिंक थर्ड एग्जाम था. दिस गाय केम अ लिटिल लेट, सिक्योरिटी वाला, एंड ही वाज लाइक, मेरे को तो लगा था आप बाहर गए हुए थे, 1 महीने से आप दिखे ही नहीं हो. इट वाज दैट लेवल ऑफ, ये आई हैड नॉट गॉट डाउन आल्सो. तो एवरीबॉडी अराउंड न्यू दैट आई हैड गॉन समवेयर. That darwaze pe bhi I was not opening the door because I was inside the room the entire time. So life skill एक बोल सकते हैं that I can stay at home for a very long time. So lockdown didn't affect me either. So lockdown also like अभी एक और बार lockdown हो जाएगा तो it won't affect me.
Wonderful. This is very important. Kashish, you are a teacher, and teachers generally are concerned about the subject and very rarely land up talking about um, other things because there is just paucity of time. I would think, at least at the school level or even classes, at the race that we are running is so fast that everybody wants only results. They are not really worried about the mental state of the people who are going through those subjects. So this
Yes.
is a very valid point that she brought up. Uh, do you make a conscious choice to speak to your kids about things other than studies? Trying to
Yes, 100%. Actually, I'm sorry, did I interrupt you?
no, no, please, you got the
Yeah.
question.
So actually, see, I am a language teacher. So when we teach a language, we don't teach just the context of it, or we don't teach like what is in the chapter, this, and that. There are moral questions as well. So I try to question these questions to my kids and I ask them to open up. So see, recently I had a 12th standard batch crash course for English, for HSC English. There was this guy, one guy, he came to me on the first day and he just said good evening. Like these are the only two words he spoke to me on the first day. And on the third day, it so happened that this guy did not stop speaking. Like there was continuous one after the other, one after the other, Didi aisa, Didi aisa, Didi vaisa. So that was like a very big achievement for me because getting the child to speak is very important. See, you have to know your audience. You know, when you don't know what is happening, see again, like I have to know everything. If I don't know something, I am scared of it.
Okay, so are you a control freak?
Sorry,
Are you a control freak?
control freak. Yeah, kind of. I am.
I'll answer that question 100% yes.
Yeah, I know.
And I
Bhavna,
very agree to her answer actually. Like, I have been a student for one day and she is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Like, the way she conducts her class, everything she plans and everything she makes sure, considering वो मुझे तो बहुत अच्छे से जानती थी पहले से, तो still I found her lecture more like बोलते हैं ना थेरेपी सेशन की, मतलब सब मैं अपना अपना भी बता रही हूँ, वो अपना अपना भी बता रही है एंड साथ में ग्रामर भी चालू है, तो इट वाज अमेजिंग.
That is actually like I don't know how many people do this, but you know, students' doubts are also anticipated. Or sometimes I pose a question like that the student will ask me a doubt, or the student will ask me a question, and I account their question into the time. Like my lectures are timed, so I account their question also in that time and then teach.
okay, I do the same thing on the podcast, otherwise. But I have a question here, Kashish. What
Yeah.
if at times you do not know the answer?
One second. Something is happening in the background. Okay, yeah, never mind. Sorry, your question was?
What if you do not know the answer? Do you admit that you do not know the answer? Has it ever happened?
Yes, like there are times when I don't know the answer, and I just straight up tell my students that I don't know the answer to this, and I will follow it back tomorrow.
Okay. One more question on this. Has there been any time when you were not so confident, when you were standing for the first time or whatever? Can you narrate a story when Kashish was not the complete teacher that she is as of right now?
Hmm, actually, see, whenever I was doing something, I knew that I was doing it. See, for example, if I have to take a lecture, I know what chapter I have to teach. So when I was starting out, yes, I did not have any stage confidence. I did not have like the proper storytelling aspect. I did not have the start, middle, and end of it, but I did have a rough idea. So 19-20 करके हो जाता था कुछ ना कुछ. And then I used to come home, then I used to review what happened, what did not happen, how did the kids respond, how did they not respond, and everything. It's like I went into the psychology of it, and yeah, I still do it every day. Like I take a lecture, I analyze everything that is happening. So yeah, that's it. That's like a continuous process. I don't think I will ever stop doing this.
Okay. Thank you so much, Rashna. Scary, honestly. I like mistakes quite a lot. Specifically in academics, so for sure. I like the fact that there is, okay, I'll give you an example. Have you guys seen a movie called Luck by Chance?
No, I haven't.
Okay, there's a movie called Luck by Chance by Zoya Akhtar. Have you seen any of Zoya Akhtar's movies?
I have seen Zoya Akhtar's movies.
Agi?
You all will cancel me, but जिंदगी ना मिलेगी दोबारा जोया अख्तर की मूवी है.
हाँ.
हाँ, फिर देखिए एक मूवी देखिए.
नहीं, वो ठीक है. So there is all actually this example is about luck by chance when Anurag Kashyap and Zoya Akhtar are good friends. And Anurag, after seeing Luck by Chance, which was her first movie, said, "You don't leave anything raw. Everything is complete." So where is that breathing space? Where is that life in that thing? I find as a creative person that gives me a lot of confidence that we are flawed or this or something. Some part of the process is open to being mistake oriented. So when I speak to Kashish, I am overawed by her completion. I'm like, okay, अब क्या पूछे तो at least there will be some place where she is faulted herself and say, हाँ ठीक है, तो अरे अपने जैसी है. Do you get that from your friends or people that यार कशिश इतनी perfect है यार अभी क्या करें तुम्हारा?
It's yes, I do get it from a lot of people that Kashish is like the epitome of it. I am infamously known as the Shona Bacha. Uh, everything comes to me, I go to everything, and everything just falls in place properly. And there are aspects that I am not very perfect into actually.
You want to talk about that? You want to keep it a secret? I will not ask you questions on that.
I think it is better to be mysterious.
Yeah, good. I like that smile and thank you for being human. Uh, okay, I let me try and delve into another aspect of your completion because this is a topic that is going everywhere except boredom, but it is very interesting so far. Do you give any emphasis to non-rational aspects in your completion? So do you give, so for example, there are people who say, oh, I was just lucky, I'm born this way. Do you give any emphasis to such aspects? Luck is one aspect, there could be so many more. So I want to ask you, or is everything के यार ये टेक्स्ट बुक में है ना तो ये प्रोसेस तो मैं मास्टर करने वाली हूँ आगे बोलो क्या?
Luck, I think, is subjective. See, I believe you create your own luck. And I am not an Instagram page guru or something like this. You create your own luck in sparkles. But what I mean by it is that, see, for example, uh, I am practicing math and I don't know a question. Like, for example, the question is the square root of 49. See, but I don't know the answer to it. But since I have been practicing maths, I know 7 into 7 is 49. And I see the multiple choice and the multiple choice questions. I see the number 7 and I tick on it. And that is literally by chance. By fluke, I ticked on number 7. But that does not mean I was lucky or that just striked me. I had created my luck. See, for being lucky, I had to do something, right? I had to practice tables from 1 to 10. And just because I did not know the square root of 49 is a different subject, but I did know that 7 into 7 is 49, and somewhere in the multiple choice questions I saw 7. So I ticked it. I did get lucky, but it wasn't pure luck, like just random. It wasn't random. It was something that was going to happen, and yeah, maybe I was destined to write it as 7.
Okay, we will go with your version of luck. So, what is the part that intuition plays in your? So, for example, let me create a scenario. So, it's a new class, and maybe for hypothetical situation, there are 10 new students coming in. You've never met them. This is their first class, and you're going to see them today, directly in the class.
Yeah.
Is there intuition about, okay, this person is dressed like this, or this person seems to talk like this, or is your mind working in that direction already?
100%. I can think 1,000 things when I look at a person. And a student, yes, 100%. See, like you said, there are 10 students. So not every student can sit in the first row, right? Every student will sit, like somebody will sit in the first row, somebody will sit in the second, and somebody will sit in the last row. So sitting orientation itself tells a lot about the student. See, you'll catch the first bench in the first row when you're early, when you're on time. And that shows a lot about a student. And then if you're sitting in the middle row, maybe you're not as confident, but you're not even a mischievous child. And the person who sits on the last bench is usually like, a person who's coming late, or a person who is just not confident in themselves. So yeah, that's like the bench orientation. Like, don't even get me started on what they speak and how they speak and how they and what they don't speak.
I'm the last bencher, very, very proud of it. Um, did a lot of mischief, obviously, that though I did with from the first standard itself. But last bench, I realized was freedom of a sort. That
Yes.
in fact, I
Last
thought
bench is like not about studying; it's about creating memories only, I believe.
wonderful. Uh, in fact, when I failed in my engineering, that was one of the most memorable years ever, because you suddenly realize, oh, there is so much you can do with life besides books. Uh, Besides the fact that I landed up becoming a writer and reading all the time, but at least it was never the curriculum that got to me. It was like everything I could lay my hands on, I would read. Bagi, one question I think I skipped with you, that's coming to my mind right now. How do you deal with boredom? And mother, when you're forced to be bored, you did answer with a 3 year uh, benchmark you set for yourself. But well, every day is longer than 3 years when one is bored. Sometimes there at least there was this enforced focus upon you. That's why you could go through a lot of things. But when you're bored, because you also said that COVID didn't make a dent on your confidence or any such thing. What do you do when you don't do anything besides sleeping, of course?
Keeping CA aside, hypothetically, if I weren't to do CA, like मैं CA नहीं करने वाली होती, तो ये 3 साल कैसे जाते थे? I think I would have grown my friend groups definitely. मैं कॉलेज जाती थी every day, and कॉलेज में एक ही ग्रुप है अभी. Like there are so many people in college, and I have only one group. And considering I find college के people good to go out with या whatever, I think उनके साथ बाहर जाना, and they have been my group जिनके साथ मैं ट्रेकिंग भी गई हूँ. तो गोइंग ट्रेकिंग विद देम, गोइंग आउट फॉर अ मूवी विद देम, bringing them home so that we can watch a movie at my place or order food and have a lot of fun. Then there was this one time जब ये सीए के एग्जाम्स खत्म हुए तो they had come home and हम लोगों ने फिर बोर्ड गेम्स खेले थे, क्रिकेट खेला था, फुटबॉल खेला था, बैडमिंटन खेला था. तो there are a lot of things that help you way away your time, but I think I would have done a lot of stuff otherwise. Dancing is, you can have uh, focus on your hobbies, then dance. then badminton, trekking. जैसे कशिश ने बताया, the same.
Okay, you misread the question. When you get bored, these are entertaining factors. So COVID may be when none of your friends can come, food can't come from outside, badminton can't be played, swimming can't be done. Trekking obviously is out of the question. When everything else is enforced. COVID was hard on a lot of people because they started getting depressed and anxious because they were not used to the idea of being with themselves. So when you are thrown back upon yourself, what do you do? How do you how do you view life? What is your
One thing stands, I think, board games, because सब लोग फोन पे बैठ के लूडो खेल रहे थे, तो वो तो सबके लिए कॉमन ही था. तो board games was one thing that you can do at home and is really fun. Then next is having quality time, जैसे घर पे मूवी वगैरह देखना पेरेंट्स के साथ ही. And I discovered a lot of new movies, no doubt. And one more thing that I would like to mention definitely is I fell in love with listening to music. I absolutely fell in love. So that is that one thing, that one absolute thing that I can do for hours and not even think about time kidhar gaya. So listening to music would be one of that. I'll sit on my phone and just keep the phone somewhere, then clean the house. I don't generally do that. But अगर ऐसा समझो म्यूजिक चला लिया तो I have some motivation to do something then. कि ऐसा कान में गाने चल रहे हैं तो कुछ कुछ कर लिया घर का या whatever.
I don't usually do that. Don't pick up the phone, don't listen to the phone, don't keep the phone, don't clean the house, or
Don't clean the house.
do multiple choice answer.
No.
Wonderful. Although this uh, chat seems like we've gone off topic, to me, a lot of pluses came about. Uh, one needs to persist with boring situations. One is first and foremost not being knee-jerk in our reaction to them. Consistency might open up other doors which may not necessarily be directly connected to what you are being bored with. Then another thing that Kashish very rightly spoke, that she creates patterns of boredom, or rather times of boredom for her students so that they can learn newer things and be innovative in their approach to the subject. Besides that, I think we have a lot more things that you spoke of, which is off the phone. So many hobbies you talked about. I hope people who are watching this episode from your generation will know that there is a life outside the phone. So for us as well, I'm sure we are not coming from a position of saying that we know better. We are also learning. Kashish, you want to say something before I end the episode?
I think being bored is okay once a while, like it's not a bad thing. People view it as a bad thing. Oh my god, I'm bored. What should I do now? But that's when you start doing more interesting things. So I believe it is important as a catalyst.
Thank you so much for your time. I had a good time learning so much about teaching and students and being a proud last bencher after many years. I remembered that time today. So thank you for that. I'll see you around, and we shall
Yeah.
chat further on many subjects hopefully.
Yes.
And see you.
Thank you.
Yeah.